You already know the vibes when you're here with me. Welcome back. Welcome back to another edition of Top Shelf. I'm your host, Quicksilva, and of course, it's being brought to you by Remy Martin, Team Up for Excellence. Must be 21 plus to drink. I'm not sure about y'all, but it's the weekend somewhere, so I'm on some Remy Martin 1738 tonight.
Cheers.
To my very special guest, I'm honored to actually interview this guy because this guy came into the market. Being a person that programs the radio station, but he's also a super dope DJ. So a lot of people know him as a program director, which is the guy, for people who might not know, who really controls the entire radio station, from music to liners to everything else you hear to events. But he goes by the name of DJ Mike Swift, and I love to put the name DJ in front of it because before all of that, he's actually a super dope DJ. Mike Swift, welcome to Top Shelf, sir.
My guy, it's a pleasure, man. Pleasure.
How's everything?
Everything's good, man. Checking along. You ready for the holidays, bro?
Absolutely. For those who might not know, you are a new dad, man. How old is the baby now?
Man, she's 18 months next week.
18 months. You know the baby's young when you're still doing months. You
Yeah,
asked me,
bro.
mine's are 9 and 14. I don't know how many months that is.
You're out the woods, man. You're out the woods.
Absolutely. But welcome to Top Shelf, man. Pretty much what this is, we just have a candid conversation. Just tell us a little bit about your life. So I'm going to talk to you as if I don't know anything about you.
Okay.
If anybody that's watching at quicksilvershow.com or 939wkys.com, wherever you're watching, you can always type in the comments if you have any questions for myself or Mike Swift. Let's start with your backstory. Where are you originally from?
Born and raised in New Orleans, man.
New Orleans.
15 Ward, Algiers. Heavy jazz influence. My grandfather was a jazz musician. He pretty much raised me growing up. So, my first influences was, Miles Davis, John Coltrane, Charlie Parker, New Orleans, Dixieland, jazz music. That's pretty much all I knew growing up. Played clarinet and saxophone growing up. So that's my background.
Can you remember at what age you started DJing, or when you fell in love with DJing?
This is odd because my situation, I wanted to start making beats first. I heard the first album I fell in love with hip hop wise was The Far Side's Lab Cabin, California.
Absolutely. Come on now. You talking my language. I'm a hip hop guy.
Yeah. So at that point I was like, oh my God, I want to make beats. And so I was like, that's what I want to do. My uncle was another big influence. He was an executive over at Priority Records during the whole No Limit Rockefeller's period of time. So I went to him, I was like, yo, I want to start making beats. What do I have to do? And he was like, you might want to start DJing first. And then it turned my eye to DJing. Then I became obsessed with DJing. It was like all the producers I love were DJs first.
Yeah.
And I worked a couple of jobs, cutting grass, watching cars, family members. I came up with 150. My mom and dad came up with the other 150 and bought me a starter DJ kit out of the back of the Source magazine from Upstairs Records in New York.
It's funny because I actually remember that starter kit. What turntable? Were they linear techs? They weren't Techniques.
Or Geminis. Gemini XL BD10s.
BD10
with a little tiny Gemini 6-inch mixer.
Now, if anybody don't know what BD10s are, those are belt drive turntables.
So you got a quarter on the head shell in order to keep the joints from skipping, man.
One of us is telling our age, and it's not me, so I'm going to put my finger and pointing at you. But I know all about I know all about belt drive turntables. Man, you'd be so blown if you didn't have a nickel or a quarter something on that head shell.
And a good piece of tape.
Yeah.
Multiple pieces of wax paper. Yeah, man. So I pretty much I started, doing middle school dances and pretty much was rocking like high school dances across the city. Nice. With those same belt drive turntables, man. Like my grandfather, he was gigging on his jazz gig, so he dropped me off at the high schools before he'd go do his gig. Right. And I'd be waiting in front of the high school for him to pick me up after he finished his gig and stuff my turntables and stuff in the back of his Mercury Grand Marquis. So that's how I got my start.
Question for you. Once again, if you're just tuning in with Top Shelf, a conversation with Quicksilva and DJ Mike Swift, being brought to you by Remy Martin. Please drink responsibly. You must be 21 and over to drink. Can you remember your first party? How'd you do your first event? Because before you answer, my first party, I got booed. I literally got booed because my speakers blew. You remember back in the day, speakers had fuses in them. So maybe 20 minutes into the party, there's maybe 50, 60 people there. But at 10 years old, it felt like it was 50,000 people.
Right.
But can you imagine? I'm 10 years old. I'm DJing my first party. And about 15 minutes in, the party's packed. I'm playing music, and all the music cuts off. And within 30 seconds, all you heard was, boo, get a new DJ.
No music.
Right. But it wasn't no music. This was just straight boo. You didn't need DJ. How did Mike Swift do in his first party?
I did okay. I remember it was my first paid gig, my freshman year of high school. It was at John Curtis High School. If anybody on my Facebook page went to John Curtis freshman year, I did what's the name? It was a Bowden. Remember it was the coach of Tulane University's daughter's birthday party at a country club. And they booked me and I used all the money. I think I only charged $150 to do the gig. I had to rent speakers for $75 and I spent the other $75 on buying vinyl.
Yeah.
And I didn't have that much vinyl at the time.
Yeah.
And I remember playing Lauryn Hill That Thing about 5 damn times the gig, man. But nobody complained, you know.
Right. I would say I'm laughing because like I'm a DJ, so these stories resonate with me. I remember like you were expensive. My first party I was $50, and for $50, once again I had to bring all my equipment, all my records, everything. And I remember like my first party, I had like this is after the first one after getting booed. My first party where I actually succeeded and did get when I didn't get booed, I had 1 crate of records. And I might have had, it was a small crate. It wasn't even a long milk crate. So I might have had 30 records. And out of the 30, I probably played 10 of them. And I just kept playing those 10 over and over again. And the thing that nobody can play, I DJ 4 hours with 10 records. and over again, those 10 records made it work.
At one point, I remember like doing high school dances. But I couldn't find nothing on vinyl or get it on CD. I got to the point where I was just like recording some joints off the radio that I just couldn't get. Recording them off of Q93 in New Orleans and then playing, having the line that was DJ Jubilee's Do the Mario, I think it was.
Wow.
Yeah, I couldn't find it nowhere on vinyl. I was playing that straight off of the radio recorded.
Hey, but once again, man, we're definitely aging ourselves tonight on Top Shelf, brought to you by Remy Martin. But it's okay. We team up for excellence. Now, if anybody who just tuned in, as you mentioned, not only you're a DJ, you're a super dope beat maker and producer. Which one do you enjoy most, DJing or producing?
In my later years, it's become more of the producing side, you know what I'm saying? But I enjoy doing remixes. I enjoy doing different types of things. And like, coming up in the club scene in New Orleans and just the New Orleans scene, it's so predicated, just like how Baltimore is on the club music. Like we have Bounce Show, I had the Baltimore club music and Be More, and it was all predicated on doing your own remix takes of popular records. Like records like Anita Baker ballads would be like the big club record at points in New Orleans. Faith Evans, Never Let You Go, Beyonce, You Are My Rock, all had like bounce remixes. So it's like, shout out to one of my mentors, DJ Money Fresh, I looked up to growing up. He put out one of the first really popular bounce remix albums. And it was just like at that point, I became obsessed with, getting remixes done. And through my career, I've, been fortunate enough to get placements with official remixes with Atlantic Records for Flowrider and with 7th Streeter, one with Jacquees a few years ago. So it's fun. It's fun. I got one I'm putting out later this evening with the new Adele single I'll be putting out.
Nice. If anybody who doesn't know what that means Mike Swift is rich in real life, y'all. He makes a lot of money. That's what that means.
Who loans? Sally Mae's rich.
So once again, man, this is Top Shelf. Brought to you by Remy Martin, DJ Mike Swift, Quicksilva. Now, let's fast forward. Of course, we know you're a DJ that's originally from New Orleans, a producer and beat maker, but you're also in radio. Yeah. How'd you get into radio?
My radio career started in end of 05, man. I worked in radio at my college at Dillard University.
Okay.
Earlier than that, I started working at a college radio station fall of 2002, but I got my first shot in commercial radio in December of 05, right after Hurricane Katrina. I've only been away from New Orleans for about 4 years now. Right. I left in October 2017. So, fast forward go back to Hurricane Katrina, still DJing at clubs and stuff, doing commercials for the clubs I'm DJing at. And the APD of the station, Old School 102.9, at the time, it was KMUZ, was like, yo, if there's anything that comes open, you need to be working in radio. Because I was doing these commercials for the club I was at. And Katrina happened. I evacuated to Houston. And, I reached out to the APD, Kelder Summer, shout out to Kelder, and was like, hey, checking to see if you're doing fine. Is everything fine? She was like, hey, there's a board op position open. If you come tomorrow, you can have the job. And she didn't know I was in Houston in school at University of Houston at the time, getting ready to take the finals. So I skipped out on my finals.
Oh, wow.
Packed up my dorm, drove to New Orleans overnight. And applied for the job. And I've been
How long did that drive?
That's about a 6-hour drive.
Oh, so not too bad.
Yeah, so I left at midnight, got to New Orleans at 6. You know what I'm saying? Slept in front of the radio station on St. Charles Avenue and walked in at 9 o'clock to fill out the application. Right. And I started the station like the following week. And I did board operating for like 2 weeks through training. And then I became the nights host from 6 to midnight doing like the Quiet Storm show.
Right. This is so dope. And I'm hoping that somebody that wants to get into radio is watching and listening to this, because what you just explained is that where you are in your career now, it took years to get there. It took hard work, dedication, and consistency, and always saying sacrifice.
Yeah,
sacrifice is one of the things that I don't say a lot of times in my slogan. But if you don't sacrifice, you probably won't get there. If you wouldn't have sacrificed sleeping in your car at 6 o'clock in the morning until 9, because right now I feel like everybody wants everything now. I want it now. Yeah. Right.
It takes time, man. It's like, I could never imagine I would have ended up on the East Coast. It was my dream to end up on the East Coast. But when you're working in radio and you're in the grind and you're DJing at clubs 3 and 4 nights a week, all you're concentrating is on like the day to day. And to like get to where things have gone, it's kind of trippy from time to time. Kind of think about it.
Now, once again, you just turned in Mike Swift, Quicksilva Top Shelf, being brought to you by Remy Martin. I'm having a little 1738 myself here, so that's what I'm enjoying tonight. Are you drinking Remy? What are you drinking? VSOP?
Yeah, it was what you sent me for Christmas last year.
So you're drinking the XO.
Yeah.
Oh, you drinking the big boy.
Yeah.
I told you he's rich, man. See, he's drinking the big boy XO. That's the expensive bottle.
The gift.
So you started in New Orleans, and you're now based out of Washington, D.C., where I met you at. How DC happen? How'd that happen?
It was interesting. So my first PD gig I got was in Charlotte at a station called Streets. But that was my first time being able to leave New Orleans. I was at that station for a year. Had the opportunity to go to Memphis, where I was at a station called Hot 107.1. Was there for 9 months. We had a lot of wins at the station. Like we immediately kind of started making noise in the market. Did a lot of cool community events with Young Dolph and
rest in peace.
Yeah, man, that hurt. So we had a good run in Memphis, and I ended up in DC. It was interesting to make the move. It's one of those things where it's like you have faith in yourself and your abilities, and you've been putting in work all the years. I've been in radio since 2005, so at the point where I got out to DC, it was about 14 years of working up the ranks. When I was with Cumulus, I went from being on the Urban AC station, doing nights, to doing afternoon drive and mix show for almost a decade, and moving up to assistant program director, and taking a hiatus from radio somewhat to go work in government as a public affairs director. So it's like everything that kind of happened led the way for me to like learn leadership and learn the role that I ended up moving into as a programmer. DJ first. It was like, honestly, you think about when I first got into it, I was interested in the programming side, but it never really dawned to like that's what the door would open up for me. I think a lot of us, who are in the game, might end up shooting ourselves in the foot by not keeping your mind open to different opportunities that may come out. I think being a DJ, you have a different perspective as being a programmer, because you're kind of like, keeping you pretty much know how to read a room. It's pretty much the same thing.
I tell everybody, DJs are programmers.
Yeah. You can't take the same recipe that I worked with in Memphis and take it and say it'll work here in DC. Like that's not how it works. And you can cut your career pretty short by being like, okay, this is what it is. I'm going to look at the charts, and the charts of the Bible, when culturally the city is.
Oh, I hate that.
The charts.
I've worked with PDs who had used that exact same lingo, and they wonder why they're not the PD anymore.
Yeah, charts mean nothing. And I will tell anyone from any label that the charts mean nothing. Not in DC.
They'll tell you it didn't research well. I'm like, where'd you do your research?
Yeah.
My research is amazing, right?
Yeah, so it's like, research is interesting. Like research helps a bit. And it's honestly like the first market where I've had true research. Every other market I've been in, I've come from the smaller markets in the South, man. So it's like in research. It's like your research is at the club, going to the strip club on Tuesday. Right. Get some wings, chill back, and see what's moving the crowd, paying attention to Shazam numbers. paying attention to being at the gas station or a spot in the hood.
Yeah.
And what do you hear on somebody's speakers pulling up? You know what I'm saying? So that was the difference. So it's kind of the same here, is where I'm paying attention to what's happening within the communities and what people are feeling, and take the research into consideration. And you look at the charts a little bit.
Gotcha. How was the transition from being in a small market like New Orleans, Memphis, Charlotte, to coming to Washington, D.C., which is a top 10 market in the USA?
Y'all got Wi-Fi at work. You know what I'm saying? You ain't never been in a market where you like DJing and a rat run across your hand while you DJing.
That's never happened to me in DC.
You know what I'm saying? In DC, it's not going to rain and it starts flooding inside the radio station while you're on air.
Wow.
So
these are real life scenarios that happen.
Real life scenarios. I kid you not. Factual stuff I've experienced. And it's just the resources, man. That's the beauty. The blessing of it is that working for Urban One and Radio One is being blessed with the amount of resources that are available.
Gotcha.
And the amount of education we get from our VPs like Kashan.
That's that's my baby.
Yeah, so that's the beauty of it. That's the thing I wished I had, coming up in different markets, but I was able to cut my teeth and work with a lot less, because most of the markets I've been in, I've pretty much been promotion director, program director, afternoon drive host, mix show DJ,
mixer.
Mixer. So like you're doing absolutely everything. So it's been dope being here and being able to be a sponge and learn off of guys like you. You know what I'm saying? That are vets and legends in the game. You know what I'm saying? So it's a beautiful thing, man. I'm loving DC.
Absolutely. Once again, if you just tuned in, and we call this Top Shelf. I'm your host, Quicksilva, and this is DJ Mike Swift. And we're just having a conversation about life and music, and just transitioning from small markets to big markets. Now, here's a game I'm going to play with you, Mike Swift. You're a music guy, like I'm a music guy. I call it this or that. So you have to pick one.
All
right. So I'll start easy with you. And hopefully nobody in the comments goes crazy by your answers, because you might, everybody's always so offended these days.
Exactly.
First one, Mike Swift, are you Biggie, Tupac? Biggie, Tupac. Gotcha. All right. Let's go. If you had to go and watch one of your favorite classics from the 90s, are you watching New Jack City or Menace to Society?
New Jack City for sure.
All right, let's take it way back, because you're a hip hop guy like me. Breaking or Beat Street?
That's a little bit before my time. I think, what the hell? I remember Breaking. I remember Beat Street. I watched them both on VH1 at some time. Wait, which one I had the dance with the broom?
With the broom, that was Beat Street.
Okay, Beat Street wins. There you go.
Good answer. All right, right now we're talking movies that star one of my favorite actors, Eddie Murphy. Are you doing Coming to America, or are you doing Life?
Coming to America. Life is depressing, man.
Really?
Life pisses me off, man.
No, I love Life. That was a funny movie. I mean, it was a sad situation that they were Life in prison.
That Life doesn't rub me right, man.
That was actually a good movie. I think Life was the first movie that proved to me that Eddie Murphy was funnier than Martin. He really and I'm a Martin fan. I love the show. I love Martin. But Eddie Murphy in that movie made it clear he was the OG. Okay, I know you guys like this guy, but it's a reason why everybody learned under me.
Right.
Wu-Tang or NWA?
Wu-Tang.
Good answer. Good answer, sir. Good answer. Right now you're impressing me. All right. Who's a better lyricist, KRS-One or Nas?
As someone who bought I Got Next and was so geeked to get I Got Next, and actually filled out the Temple of Hip Hop form inside of the I Got Next CD from KRS-One. I'll go with KRS because that's more of I don't know. KRS. Yeah, I'll go with KRS.
I got you.
I love the new Nas project.
I love that. I mean, both of them. You really can't go wrong with that answer. Let's go to 90s R&B, which is one of my favorite genres of music to play. Jodeci or Drew Hill?
Ooh. Guess I'll go with Jodeci.
Don't guess. You gotta stand. Wherever you go, you gotta stand on it.
If I was gonna go with any 90s R&B, I wasn't a big R&B guy. Like Erykah Badu, D'Angelo's first album. That's like my fondest memories of 90s R&B. But I would go with Jodeci over Drew Hill.
Okay, I mean, I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad.
You
mentioned Neo Soul, Erykah Badu, Jill Scott, live performance.
I'll have to go with Erica, man. I saw Erica Badu and in the Bay a few months ago at Hers Lights On Festival, man. I swear to God, like the Lord was in the room while Erica was performing, man. I had goosebumps. I felt like in a whole nother world, man. It was spiritual. So yeah, Erica Badu all day.
I would definitely have to agree. Like Erica Badu, Erica Badu. How do I say this? Jill Scott and Erica Badu are two of my favorite artists, especially live performers. I'm a neo soul guy. Jill Scott's first album,
classic.
Erykah Badu, my favorite album of hers is the live album. At least for myself. Let's stay neo soul for a minute, since you're a neo soul guy. Music Soul Child with D'Angelo. Okay, you said that like so
yeah. Even though I dug music, man, but you know, I've seen him in concert a few years ago, and I was like, damn, man, this is where we're at. But yeah, D'Angelo for sure.
I'll give you one more, and then we're going to wrap this up in a minute, Mike Swift. Let's go sneakers right now. Jordans or one? I'm sorry, Jordans or the one. So like what matter of fact, what is your favorite Jordan? Do you have a favorite Jordan?
Jordan ones would be my favorite.
Jordan ones is definitely my favorite. Yeah. Now it's this is a DMV question, and it's hilarious if you actually answer this one correctly. It's wintertime outside and snow outside. Are you putting on Timbs or Nike boots?
I'm putting on the Nike boots, Mo.
Right. You actually gonna do Timbs. I ain't mad at you. Once again, Mike Swift, I really appreciate you. I'm hoping that somebody watched this and I learned something new about Mike Swift. Now, of course, tonight is being brought to you by Remy Martin. Do you have like a favorite Remy Martin cocktail? Like, how do you drink your Remy?
Well, I'm doing currently Remy with ginger beer with a splash of cranberry juice.
That's a vibe. I like that. I do my Remy with ginger beer or ginger ale. So I'm not mad at the splash of cranberry. I might have to try that. If anybody that's not following Mike Swift, man, how can they keep in contact, follow you? And if I'm an artist and I want some of your beats, how can I get in contact with Mike Swift?
Hit me up on IG. It's MikeSwift.tv or yeah, that'll be it. Yeah, MikeSwift.tv.
And that's on all social media.
All social media. Just Mike Swift on Twitter.
Mike Swift on Twitter. All right. Well, thank you so much, sir, for being a part of Remy Martin Producer Series. What are your plans for you and your family for the holidays?
Man, we're kicking it here in the DMV. I'm back to New Orleans for Thanksgiving, and I'll be going back to New Orleans on New Year's Eve to rock a party that I've been doing for like 9 years now. Big night in New Orleans. So looking forward to that. Be me, Big Frida, Shanking the Bangers. So yeah, looking forward to a fun New Year's Eve back home.
Well, thank you so much for being a part of our top shows, being brought to you by Remy Martin. Once again, make sure you team up for excellence. Please drink responsibly. You have to be over 21. My name is Quicksilva. Thank y'all for tuning in. You can check me out every day on the radio, 3 until 7 o'clock. Quicksilva Show with Dominique Gadiva, and everybody have an amazing holiday. And make sure you enjoy some Remy Martin cocktails this holiday season. If you need some recipes, go to RemyMartin.com and tell them Quicksilva sent you. You did. Have a great night, everybody.